What's up everyone, Andre here to take a closer look at an incredible image posted by Imalco02 on their Instagram that shows off Super Nintendo World at an angle and level of detail we have never seen before. So I had to take a closer look at this because it just looks phenomenal, and I wanted to point out some of the details I noticed about it as well as some things you may not know about the park in general. So let's go ahead and flip over to a bigger version of the image here, which by the way you can check out for yourself by using the source link in the description below. I highly recommend you do so because this image is really something else. Okay, so one thing we have to get out of the way is the fact that this picture is from an angle that you were never intended to see in the park itself. So that's why we're going to be able to see behind the scenes, including inside some of these very buildings. You may notice that some of the tops of the roofs here appear to be unfinished, and that's simply because from ground level they will look to be finished. You won't see the top there, so even though they are exposed and probably are mostly finished here, you'll never see that actual exposure when you're on ground level. So keep that in mind for why some parts may look a little lacking. With that said, this actually looks remarkably filled in. This looks great, and I think part of the reason for that is because this is meant to be a multi-level area where you have the lower level down here, and then you have the slightly higher level up here. Now, of course, you're not going to see at the very top of these hills, but I think that does go to show that all the lower terrain, at least, will be completely filled in. It really makes this level, it is a level in a way, it really makes this world, this area, feel very lively and bright and colorful to a degree that we actually don't see that often. Maybe at all. This is almost unprecedented. It reminds me a little bit of Toy Story Land from Disney Studios, but on a much grander scale. Anyways, next up, so right here we can see that we can kind of see the park boundary here and how the rolling hills form the boundary of it, and just outside that boundary we can see Hogsmeade from Harry Potter Land. So it is running right up against the boundary of not just Harry Potter, but also the land they're able to use here. I believe this is reclaimed land. I could be misremembering, but it does appear to be water right there. On this side, there is a parking lot, which actually looks like it could be used for future expansion, including perhaps through like this gateway that they built here. I don't know if that has some current purpose, but that could be potentially a gateway into a future expansion of Super Nintendo World, possibly being the Donkey Kong section that we know is going to Orlando already, but that has probably now been delayed, or actually we now know that's been delayed due to the worldwide pandemic. So who knows, maybe Japan will end up getting that first, but that's just purely speculation on my part. I don't know if they have other plans for this area. Now the one area we haven't fully addressed yet is, besides the park itself of course, is to the left here. This giant building is for the Mario Kart ride, and we can't see it all right now, but we showed off a better picture of it a few days ago. Actually, I've got a better picture of it right here. This is from a model, and we'll be referencing this more later, where you can see the giant show building behind the castle. It is massive. So this is Bowser's Castle right down here, and you can see, even though it's not even lined up, it's not even centered with the building, that just goes to show the genius of work when it comes to park design. You can make it look like you're entering this massive castle, even though the bulk of the ride is actually, exist kind of pushed off the side of it. So you'll enter Bowser's Castle right here. Let's go and zoom in on that. And then that'll take you into that ride building where the Mario Kart ride is, as I just said. Now next to the Bowser building, we have this giant Yoshi hill, or I say Yoshi hill, it's more of just like a giant hill. If we zoom in, we can see it has warp pipes, it's got a thwomp right there, it's got 3D World style trees. Pretty much everything's themed to 3D World, by the way, so keep that in mind. We have different bricks, we have clouds that move back and forth along this as we've seen in the trailers, and of course there's a flagpole at the top. Once again, the ground by the flagpole is not themed, neither is this hill over here. Now the reason I called it Yoshi Mountain earlier is because this is where the Yoshi ride is going to be. And we can actually see proof of that right here with the Yoshis on a track, because this is going to be mostly an outdoor ride where the Yoshis are able to, they go on a track, you board them inside this hill or inside the mountain, then you ride them outside, across the bridge, through the warp pipe here, which takes you through an interior show scene. We don't know what the show scene is yet, as far as we're aware. Then you'll exit out this side, you'll pass by a couple of blocks here, looks like maybe a pokey, and then you'll continue along this path, right back into the show building. I think I could be wrong, it might do a little loop here if I remember correctly, I could be mistaken. Actually, we could look at it right here. Once again, this handy model, it looks like, yeah, it pretty much goes right back inside, so you can see how that works. Oh yeah, we can actually see it right here. So it travels along the exterior and then right back inside the mountain. I somehow missed that a few seconds ago. So yeah, it doesn't seem to be a whole lot to that ride, but it should be fun. There might be a little bit more going on inside the mountain itself that we can't see, of course. But yeah, it should be cute, and it'll give a neat sense of kinetic energy to the land, because you'll be able to see this ride from pretty much everywhere else in the land, which should be really cool. That's something Universal doesn't have a ton of, so that I think will go a long ways in kind of augmenting the park in general, and just making Super Nintendo World really something special. Now I mentioned the barrier before, the perimeter, if you will, that kind of protects you from the outside world, or shields the outside world from you, I should say. The berm, if you will. The berm, by the way, is what Disney uses at like Disneyland. They use a bunch of real-life trees to hide the outside world from the theme park itself. So it's kind of fitting that for their berm here, they're using, virtual trees, or like, rolling hills, and their world, Mario's world of those hill things. Over here, we do have actual trees, though, an actual berm. By actual trees, I mean actual 2D trees. So yeah, again, I just love the detail here. It's going to add a really neat sense of depth, especially with all these other decorations around here. We have like these desert-style, not quite pyramids, but like hills. And in case you're wondering, some people pointed out to me before that some of the detail on those hills look like or actually on the building right here, look like they are Donkey Kong girders. And while that is true, it's actually the exact same design they already use in 3D World. So yeah, they're just 3D World designs. They're not a tease of Donkey Kong yet. But again, like I said, that could come in the future. Let's go ahead and zoom out here. Now, you will be entering the park through a warp pipe somewhere around here. We can't see it here, but you will enter near Peach's Castle, if not in Peach's Castle. It actually might take you just in through Peach's Castle, I think. And that's how you enter Super Nintendo World, which is why, again, Hogsmeade is right there. So yeah, everything's gonna be very close together, but it's really cool how they can pull off that effect, I think, where you walk through this seemingly lengthy warp pipe to get into Super Nintendo World. Now, speaking of warp pipes, there's another one down here, and in order to get to it, you'll have to climb down a staircase down into the little lower plaza area, if you will. And then there is there's a couple warp pipes, actually. There's the one in here, which takes you into, I think, which is some kind of gift shop, if I remember correctly. The other one right here is the actual entrance into the Yoshi Mountain ride. And then there's another one right here. Actually, not another one. There's a Toad House right here that I believe is going to be some kind of cafe. We can see there's a decoration, some central decoration of the warp pipe. We can see a creeper piranha right here wrapped around, which again we saw in the initial reveal trailer. We can see this really nice path that'll take you up to Bowser's Castle and past a few giant mushrooms along the way, which seem to be they look to be unfinished on top, but that's probably just what they'll look like. I'm not quite sure what that design is though. It's very I'm not quite sure why those gaps are there, but yeah, kind of unusual. We can see more piranha plants along the rooftops here of what's going to be the snow world. And again, it just goes to show how odd it looks from this angle, when from inside the park, it will look completely perfect. These will look like actual snowy mountain ranges. You can see it here, and part of the reason we can't see it is because our angle isn't conducive for it. Yeah, let's see, what else is there going on here? There's a store or something, some kind of entranceway right next to Bowser's Castle. I forget exactly what that is off the top of my head. And there's gonna be various little areas like that along the perimeter of the park. I already pointed out one over there. There should be one right down here as well, as the buildings might suggest. Let's see, what else do I want to point out? I think we've covered actually most of it. This is just truly fantastic stuff that they're doing here. I really can't wait to visit Super Nintendo World myself. Yeah, I think we've covered most of the details. It does look like there's still some scaffolding around Peach's Castle, so this one doesn't seem to be finished yet. It looks like they're still working on it. And yeah, it is kind of funny too, that just like in Mario 64, it seems like Peach's Castle may not have a full back here, because you're not going to see it. It's going to be right up against that hill there. So yeah, I wonder if there might be an area of the castle you might be able to explore inside. It seems like there might be, but we don't fully know to what extent and what that might include. So yeah, that is pretty much most of the major details. I mean, there's other small stuff here throughout, of course. We pointed out most of it before. This is actually incredibly faithful, once again, to this model. Just check this out. You can see everything I just talked about here, including the little cafe, the creepy piranha, or creeper piranha, I should say, Bowser's Castle, the show building, Yoshi Mountain with the Yoshis wrapping around, including the bridge right there and the warp pipe that they go through. Since day one, this has been the most, from the very beginning, everything we see in the Super Nintendo world has been incredibly accurate. And that's extremely rare for theme parks, to be that accurate from the initial reveal years ago. as this model. This model is more recent, but at least it was revealed more recently. But again, it just shows like how it matches up with what came before. In this model, we can see another thwomp over there, and we can get a better look at what kind of shop might be over here. It looks like some kind of Mario Motors thing based on the Mario Kart like diagram there. So that might tie into the whole Mario Kart ride that Bowser's Castle leads into. So I'm not quite sure to what extent or like what exactly that is, but yeah, there you go. So let's go and just zoom out one more time and just take it all in. Just look at this. Oh, it looks so great. I'm so excited. We can see, oh, by the way, a whole bunch of music blocks right down here. Presumably you'll be able to hit those with the with your fist, as well as interact with them in some way using the power-up band you can get. There's a question block here as well, presumably suspended right next to the, by the wall it's adjacent to. And I'm sure there's more around here. There's some on the mountains you won't be able to get to, of course. But yeah, God, and I love the brickwork on the on this bridge here. It just looks really neat. Just a really cool look. And once again, something else that the Soul Land is doing that's unique is just that it's multi-layer. That's something you don't find in parks too often. They're usually pretty flat. The only major exception I can think of is Tokyo Disney Sea, and anything that reminds me of Disney Sea is a very good thing. Alright everyone, I've pretty much exhausted everything I've got to talk to you about today. Yeah, so thank you for watching. Thank you for checking out this picture, and thank you to the person who took this picture. It is fantastic stuff. And once again, I cannot wait to visit Super Nintendo World myself. I hope it opens, sometime within the near future, safely, of course, because I would love to be able to visit and check this out in person. Anyways, guys, that's all I've got for you. Let us know what you think in the comments below, and of course, make sure to click that like button and subscribe for tons more on Super Nintendo World and everything else Nintendo as well. We'll catch you later. Bye.